Students, in the previous videos, we discussed about the memory and we also learned about the classification of the program memory or the code memory. And also we started to discuss about the classification of the working memory, that is random access memory, and we discussed about the static RAM as well. The second classification is the dynamic RAM, that is DRAM. The dynamic RAM is the type of RAM that stores each bit of data in the form of charge in memory cell consisting of a tiny capacitor and a transistor, both typically based on metal oxide semiconductor technology, that is MOS technology. The advantage of this is the high density and the low cost compared to SRAM. The limitation is since the information is stored as charge, it gets leaked off with time. And to prevent this, they need to be refreshed periodically. Special circuits called DRAM controllers are used for representing the operation. The refresh operation is done periodically in milliseconds interval. The diagram illustrates a typical implementation of a DRAM cell. The MOSFET acts as the gate for the incoming and outgoing data, whereas the capacitor acts as a bit storage unit. Next, moving on to the difference between the SRAM and the DRAM. So firstly, the SRAM, as we already discussed, it is made up of 6 CMOS transistors, whereas the DRAM is made up of a single MOSFET and a capacitor. The SRAM cell doesn't require refreshing, whereas DRAM cell requires refreshing periodically. The SRAM has the low capacity and it is more expensive, whereas DRAM has high capacity with the less expensive. The SRAM cell is fast in operation and typical access time is 10 nanoseconds, whereas DRAM is slow in operation due to the refresh requirements and the typical access time is 60 nanoseconds. So these are the important difference between the SRAM and the DRAM. Next, moving on to the third classification, that is non-volatile RAM, NVRAM. Non-volatile RAM is a random access memory with a battery backup. That means it has a battery which is attached to the memory together in a single package. The advantage is that it contains the static memory and a minute battery for providing supply to the memory in the absence of external power supply. The only limitation is that the battery should be replaced every now and then. That is, it might be expected to around 10 years. The example DS1644 from Maxim is an example of 32 KB NVRAM. So the classification of the working memory are the SRAM, DRAM and NVRAM. So next, moving on to some more concepts, that is memory according to the type of interface. So whatever the type of interface which we will be using, based on that interface, the memory will be having various types. Okay. The interface of memory with the processor or the controller can be of various types. It might be of parallel interface, serial interface like I2C, SPI, single wire interconnection. Serial interface is commonly used for data storage memory like EEPROM. The memory density of a serial memory is usually expressed in terms of kilobits, whereas that of parallel interface memory is expressed in terms of kilobytes. Atmel Corporation's A214C512 is an example for serial memory with the capacity 512 kilobits and two-wire interface. The next concept is the memory shadowing. Generally, the execution of a program or a configuration from a ROM is very slow compared to execution from a RAM. RAM access is about 3 times fast as ROM access. Memory shadowing is a technique adopted to solve the execution speed problem-based systems. In computer systems and video system, there will be a configuration holding ROM called Basic Input Output Configuration ROM, or simply BIOS. RAM is included behind the logical layer of BIOS at its same address as a shadow to the BIOS. The first step that happens during the boot up is copying the BIOS to the shadowed RAM and write protecting the RAM, then disabling the BIOS reading. You might be thinking why both RAM and ROM needed for holding the same data. So why this shadow memory is needed? RAM is volatile and it cannot hold the configuration data which is copied from the BIOS when the power supply is switched off. Only a ROM can hold it permanently. But for high system performance, it should be accessed from a RAM instead of accessing from a ROM. So for this purpose, the memory shadowing is needed. The last concept in the memory is the memory selection for embedded system. For large number of embedded applications, so there need a different types of memory to be used. There need not be that every other memory should be used for every applications of embedded systems. Embedded systems require a program memory, data memory, and also the memory for holding non-volatile data. The memory requirement for an embedded system in terms of RAM and ROM is solely dependent on the type of the embedded system and the application for which it is designed. A lot of factors need to be considered when selecting the type and size of the memory for embedded system. Now let us consider a simple electronic toy design. So for this, the complexity is less and also the memory requirement is also minimal. And it also takes only a few bytes or bits of flash memory. So it can be designed by using a PIC microcontroller. So this is one of the case where we are not using the external memory at all. So next, moving on to few more example. Now, if we are using an embedded design which is based on RTOS, that is real-time operating system. So this requires certain amount of RAM for its execution and ROM for storing the RTOS image. Let us take an example. A smartphone device with Windows Mobile operating system, which which uses an operating system. Say 64 MB RAM and 128 MB ROM are the minimum requirements for running the Windows mobile device. Extra RAM and ROM are needed for running user applications. So there are two parameters for representing a memory. The first one is size of the memory chip. That means memory density expressed in terms of number of memory bytes per chip. Memory chips come in standard sizes like 512 bytes, 1024 bytes, that is 1 kilobyte, 2048 bytes, that is 2 kilobytes, 1024 KB, it is 1 megabytes, etc. The second parameter is the word size of the memory. The word size can be 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 32, etc. So, depending upon the need of the memory, type of the memory, address space, amount of data to be written, also the low power consideration, also the portable devices and external environment, that is environmental conditions like high temperature, humidity, etc. So taking all these parameters into consideration, the memory selection is made based on the embedded applications. So these are all the concepts which come under the memory of an embedded systems. To brief out, so we studied about what is a memory in an embedded system, what is a classification of an program memory, so what are the classification of an